Following an impressive Friday night victory over Ipswich Town, Boro head to Hillsborough to face struggling Sheffield Wednesday. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Project Boro Preview Show, and today we are looking ahead to Boro's midweek fixture down in Sheffield against Sheffield Wednesday, of course. And this really has all the hallmarks of a game to which Boro should be licking their lips, looking at this as a fantastic opportunity to capitalise on a club that, as has been massively highlighted and shared and forecast online, and as we all know the circumstances at Sheffield Wednesday, they're a team that for a while now have, unfortunately for them, been a bit of a mess on and off the pitch. And it's all kind of culminating this Wednesday. There's a big planned boycott for them, where I think a lot of home fans are just not going to attend. There's been obviously protests for a very, very long time now around Chansiri, the owner. There's also, they're appealing to Boro fans to not use the concourse in the away end. There might be a HMRC winding up order coming up. It's the worst possible position any fan would want their football club to be in. And as a football fan, I feel incredibly sorry for them in terms of what they're going through off the pitch. Of course, on the pitch, things are going, maybe, this is how low the bar is given the mess they're in, maybe slightly better on the pitch than what maybe they thought they would be, but it is still a real struggle at the moment. So yeah, a giant chance for Boro to get back-to-back victories and really put Sheffield Wednesday away, and maybe an opportunity for Boro to actually find a little bit of form going forward in the attacking areas, which we started to see maybe develop against Ipswich, and this is a great opportunity to hopefully kick on and build on that a little bit more. But of course, we're Boro fans, and we know what typical Boro can be like, so this is the sort of game that still, despite everything that surrounds it, sends a shiver or two down the back of a lot of Boro fans, praying that we just don't find a way to slip up as well. So let's jump into it then and take a closer look at Sheffield Wednesday. Now, as I mentioned, off the field, it's been massively precedented. Everyone knows the situation at Hillsborough. But we're going to focus on what's happening on the field, and that isn't exactly much prettier reading at all. They have now fallen to the bottom of the championship table, following their neighbours getting only their second win of the season at the weekend. So Sheffield Wednesday have now fallen to the foot of the championship table. 1 win in their opening 10, 3 draws and 6 defeats. They've scored 9 goals and conceded a whopping 22, as I mentioned, in only 10 league games. Unfortunately for them, their only win did not come at Hillsborough. Their home form is actually worse than their away form. They're not too far off mid-table when you look at their away form, but at Hillsborough, they've been absolutely shocking. They have the second worst home record in the championship. It's only worsened by Norwich, who have actually managed to lose every single home game so far, but Sheffield Wednesday aren't far off doing that. Of the 5 home games they've had, they are winless. They've not won yet at home. They've drew 1 and lost 4. They've only scored once at Hillsborough all season, and they've let in a huge 14 goals. It is crazy how bad they've been at home, and them defeats have included defeats to 0 against Stoke, where they lost 3-0, defeats to 0 Bristol City, where they lost 2-0, and most recently, of course, just before the international break, they lost 5-0 at home to Coventry. So, this is a place where they're struggling. It's a place where they're not scoring. It's a place where they are shipping goals galore. As I said, what a chance for Boro this is on Wednesday. So let's take a look then at their stats. As you can tell, just overall, in general, they're not particularly great home, away, going forwards or going backwards. In terms of offensively, they've got the 3rd worst attack in the championship. They've scored 9 goals this season. As I say, it's crazy the difference between home and away. They've actually got 8 goals on the road, which I think is as many as what Boro have. We've got 8 on the road, so they're not bad on the road, but they've only got the 1 at home. So 9 goals for them, only worsened by Blackburn with 7 and their neighbours Sheffield United with 4. And it's backed up kind of by their XG. They're a little bit higher in the XG table because I think there are just a ton of teams that are either under or overperforming their expected goals. They sit 16th in the XG table, which is more promising, but still not great. They are, underperforming in front of goal. Their XG is 11.7, so they're slightly tracking below that. They do have a higher XG than Boro, for what it's worth. Maybe that just tells you the difference in quality at the top of the pitch when it comes to both teams taking their opportunities. And it also is quite telling that they are pretty much down towards the bottom of every single attacking stat, barring 2, and that might tell you where their joy may come from on Wednesday. As I say, 16th for shots on target as well, 18th for big chances. They're pretty low for accurate passing. The 2 places, though, where they are decent is accurate crosses and corners. So that does make me wonder that from open play, they're not going to give Boro too much to worry about. But if we give them crossing opportunities or set pieces or corners, that could absolutely be a position to which Sheffield Wednesday look to hurt Boro, especially with the quality that Barry Bannon, of course, does possess. But still, not an attack that should send too much of fear to Boro, and it doesn't get much better going backwards either. Now, you might think to yourself, they've probably conceded more goals than what they should have done. Obviously, they've got the worst defence by a small distance in the Championship. The worst defence, 22 goals conceded, 2.2 goals a game. Hull are the next closest with 18, so they're outright front, the worst defence by 4 goals. And their XG against doesn't really help that either. They've got the second worst in the league, only behind Hull City, so it's not like Sheffield Wednesday have actually had a decent-ish defence, but they've just conceded way more than what the data suggests. No, they are as bad as what the data suggests. An XG against of 20.4. Yeah, they've conceded a little bit more than that, but it is still way too high for only 10 games into the season. So, yeah, there's no smoke and mirrors here. They're bad at home, they're not great going forward, and they're extremely leaky defensively. It's the worst possible combination for a side, and once again, you would think an easy team for Boro to beat. It's never that easy in the Championship though, is it? Let's take a look at their team then. This was who they played away to Charlton in a 2-1 defeat, a 3-5-2 formation, I beg your pardon. So similar to what Boro have utilised-ish at times this season with Valerie, and it was a Mass on the left as wing-back, so that might be where they try and focus their strengths, getting them to down the sides, putting balls into the box. Of course, the key player in that 11 is Barry Bannon. He by far has the most influence on this Sheffield Wednesday team. He has by far the most goal contributions. He has 4 with 2 goals and 2 assists. So of the 9 goals Sheffield Wednesday have scored this season, he's been involved in almost half of them. So he is definitely the key. But the one big bit of news coming out of Sheffield Wednesday's defence, I'm sure you will all know it has been spoken about a lot since the weekend. They do not have a senior goalkeeper, and that could be key. So Charles is, I think he was their number 1 earlier in the season. He is injured, I think, and won't make the game. Pierce Charles, who I think is a young goalkeeper, but was their first choice, I believe, to start with. And then their second choice goalkeeper, Ethan Horvath, was sent off at the end of the Charlton game at the weekend. So chances are they are going to have to field a youth goalkeeper who has yet to make a senior minute for Sheffield Wednesday. Logan Stretch, an 18-year-old goalkeeper, might have to step in and play his first ever senior minutes for Sheffield Wednesday between the sticks. So that could be another huge factor that could possibly decide this game. So all is pointing towards what we would like to think is an easy result for Boro. Well, let's hope that's the case, but we're Boro fans, we've all been here before and we've all seen this script 1,000 times. Let's just hope this iteration of Boro under Rob Edwards can just get the job done. But what will the team look like who are taken out there to get the job done? Well, I've gone unchanged in my predicted Boro 11. I'm going to be honest. As I said on the Boro breakdown the weekend, I strongly believe Boro looked probably at our best balanced at the weekend in terms of still looking pretty good at the back, but also being much better going forward, which has obviously been the area where I think we've still had a lot of room to improve this season. So I think you'd be stupid to not build on that in the very next game and continue with the same formation and probably continue with the same personnel as well, because it worked against Ipswich. You keep the same back five, you keep the same midfield two. I think there is a question as opposed to, if Morris comes in for Alan Brown. I would be absolutely fine with either. If he wants to bring Morris back in, great. Him and Hackney are the duo. But if he wants to give Brown another chance after a very good performance at the weekend, I'd absolutely be for that as well. So I wouldn't be against the same midfield too. And then the four up front, again, I think you look to build on that, if I'm honest. I think you absolutely keep Strelets and Conway in the positions that they were in at the weekend. The question is, what happens with the two wide players? And they were both hugely influential in Boro's winning goals. Bergzorg set up the own goal, Whittaker got the second, and I think, especially with Whittaker, he's a confidence player, and now he's got that first goal, I think you'd be mad to take him out the team, because this is now the chance for him to build on that, and confidence players usually need a run of games, and he might now be off and running, and as I say, against a team who are leaky, who give up chances, it's a great opportunity for Boro's attacking players to fill their boots here and really maybe get a goal or two, get an assist, get that confidence. It's a great chance for them. That's why I'd keep the same four up front. I think Bergzorg was great too. The only question mark, I guess, is whether to combat Sheffield Wednesday's defence, maybe Rob Edwards might think a different profile might be better. I don't know. That's the only reason why I could see maybe Bergzorg coming out, but it would be harsh in a sense, given how well he performed against Ipswich. So maybe a Nipan or a McGree might start, get some minutes. I think McGree is likely to come off the bench if things are going well. Same with Hansen. Maybe there's a question mark on if you can get Nipan back into that front four. But honestly, I think when you're starting to build momentum with Boro's attack, you want to kind of keep it consistent and try and build them relationships, build that chemistry, that continuity, and then hopefully we'll have a front four that is knitted together and scoring and creating goals. So I'd keep it as is, and then maybe you look to rotate for the Wrexham game, because it is at the same time 3 games in a week, and I think you just have to use the squad in a time like this, regardless of how good it is that you may or may not be playing. So there is room for that to change, but I'd definitely keep the same system and mostly the same personnel. And we'll finish with my prediction as always. Now, of course, we're Boro fans, and as I said at the top, these are the sort of games that do make you a little bit anxious and guarded, because how many times have we seen Boro going into games like this where they should win, it looks like it is a straightforward victory, and we either make it too hard for ourselves, we lose 1-0, or something mental happens. I've seen it happen at places like Barnsley, at Rotherham. I even go back to Charlton in the promotion season. That always stands out to me, a game where they were protesting against their ownership. There's something in the back of Boro fans' minds, isn't there, that always just makes us a little bit worried about this game. But at the same time, Rob Edwards has us set up in an incredibly, I think, professional manner. I don't think he'll allow for complacency in this game, and I think he will send us out there with exactly the same mentality and focus that we have for every game, regardless if we're at home to the top of the league, away to the top of the league, or vice versa, at the bottom of the league. So I still think Boro will get this job done, and we should do. Let's be honest, if you have any aspirations of getting promoted or playoffs, if you're not going to a team who are as poor as Sheffield Wednesday, paired with what's going on off the field, then you don't deserve to get playoffs or promotion, really. So it's a game we have to be winning, and I like to think we'd win quite comfortably. I mean, if things go as planned, there might be as many Boro fans in that stadium as there is Sheffield Wednesday fans. It's going to be an incredible experience in the away end if things do go as we think they will. So I'm going to go for a Boro win, because let's be honest, anything less would be massively, massively disappointing. So I'm going to go with a 2-0 away victory. I still think, there'll be a part of Sheffield Wednesday's team that will be stubborn, that will frustrate, but I think it's one of them where if Boro get the first goal early, it could get ugly for Wednesday. But, if it drifts into half an hour, the end of the first half, then that's when the scoreline might be a little bit lower. So I'm going to go with a solid 2-0, hopefully drama-free away win for the Boro on Wednesday. And of course, I will be there in the away end as well, so there'll be a review from me the day after, and I will definitely try and vlog the game for you as well, because I think it will be a very interesting experience given what's happening at Hillsborough. So 2-0 Boro win. Here's hoping that indeed happens. But until then, hit a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more and hit the bell too so you never miss when a video drops. Leave me a comment with your predictions and thoughts in the comments below. And as always, there is a link tree in the description so you can go check out this on your chosen podcast provider if you'd rather listen to it on the go. And there's also links to my other YouTube channel where I'm currently doing an FC26 Boro career mode. So go and check that out if you are interested in gaming content, as well as links to all of my socials where I upload other content throughout the week as well. But until next time, guys, do take care. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.